Yes, guys, hello and welcome back to the Spurs-related YouTube channel and podcast. I hope everyone is doing very well on this Friday. Today, we have an Aston Villa preview for you guys. Tottenham versus Aston Villa at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Sunday, the 19th of October at 2 p.m. at our glorious stadium. And I don't think it's going to be an easy game, but we'll get into all the things. We'll have a little look at the Thomas Frank press conference and a few of the quotes. We'll have a look at our predicted lineups. We'll have a look at our score predictions and the chat score predictions. But guys, it's a pleasure to be back live with you. I really do appreciate all the support on the last live stream. It was absolutely fantastic. It was about a 40-minute live stream, but so many of you watched it offline. I think 500 or 600 of you. So I really appreciate all the support. Please, please, please keep supporting the channel. It does help massively with the algorithms. Hit the like button. It's free to do so. Turn on the notification bell. It's free to do so. And subscribe to Spurs Related if you are new. And make sure, if you are new, you put it in the comments. And of course, familiar faces, please also put your comments in. But as you can see, I'm joined back alongside Thomas Frank's AI son. That is Frank Thomas, who I'm sure will be at the game on Sunday. Frank, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm all right. I'm looking forward to the football being back. I hate the international break with every fibre of my being. And so I'm looking forward to it being back. I'm looking forward to hopefully us going on a decent or continuing this decent little trot. I was reading today they got something like 7 games in the next 22 days. So it's going to be packed. It's going to be exciting. And there's going to be a lot to talk about, I'm sure. So I'm excited.
Absolutely. Well, the content will be flowing on Spurs Related. So as I said, please do make sure you're showing your support. Just like Logan is doing in the chat. He says, evening, fellas. Big up to Frank and James. He's put your name first. You must be the favourite, Frank. And he also got ghosted in here saying big up. And guys, please don't forget that we also do offline videos as well as these live streams. So if you want more content from us, go on the videos panel, or also, of course, turn on your notification bell. Frank did a video yesterday all about I've had an absolute mind blank. Frank, remind me what the video was on.
Paratici and Johan Lange.
Of course it was. Paratici and Johan Lange. So go and check that out in our new sporting director setup. But guys, as the numbers keep flowing in, as I said, please make sure you're liking, subscribing, and commenting and turning on those notification bells. But we will get into things. We will get into the show. Also Ghosted is also in here as well, saying big up on the comments. Just quickly, Frank, quick question for you. We said our score predictions the other day. Are you still feeling confident? You said 3-0, I believe.
Yeah, I'm confident. I think we'll do a bit of a job on them, to be honest. I saw it was Kish at Lily White Lab, who obviously we've had on before. I saw he was talking about it as well, and he said that he thinks, kind of like what I said the other day, that this is kind of the perfect sort of game for Tottenham and for Thomas Frank. I think it kind of suits us in the way we play. This a bit like when we play Man City. I think that suits us, and I think Emery's team suits us as well. They play quite high, and Spurs' pace can break them down. So yeah, I'm quite confident. I'm excited for Sunday afternoon.
I'm excited as well. Looking forward to club football being back for the first time in what two weeks, I believe. So yeah, it's gonna be good to see the boys back in action, guys. Make sure you are putting your score predictions in the chat as we go through the show as well. But in terms of the press conference, before I talk about Thomas Franks, there's always a Spurs related episode when we talk about Ange Postecoglou as well. Didn't he say something in his press conference today? Like, he was under threat, and then he said, "Oh, it doesn't matter. Basically, as you will see, if you give me time, I'll win a trophy." Like, this guy is like, he's begging it for the aura now. Like, I mean, it's becoming a bit like it's kind of funny. I think he just sees it as a bit of a. He doesn't take it too seriously, but at the same time, I think he genuinely believes he is going to win a trophy at Nottingham Forest, which is, to me, absolutely crazy. I can't see it happening personally, but Logan saying, I'm very glad everyone came back for injury-free apart from Biss. Happy days. Frank, what did you see that Ange interview? What did you think, mate?
Yeah, I mean, he did. I don't know if you've seen the whole quote. He rambled on for a good minute or two. But the quote's brilliant. And he talks a lot about like when he was at Spurs and whatever. And I mean, I guess kind of the argument is that none of us would have said when he said I always win something my second season, we all kind of sat there and been, that's ridiculous. You're at the Spurs. So maybe he will win something. I don't think he will, but maybe he will. And I hope he either gets sacked before his second season, so the run continues, or he does win something, because it is. I do like the run. It is quite funny.
Yeah, let's see. Anyway, off Ange now. I just thought I'd bring it out quickly. Stefan's in here. Stefan Everton, always in here. Big up yourself, and big up Logan and Ghosted and the likes. They always come into these streams. He's saying, evening, gents. Evening, Stefan. I hope you're well. He is saying Spurs 3-1 win. I think it's going to be a 2-1 win. I haven't changed my prediction as well. You think it's going to be the perfect game for Tottenham? If it's 3-0, mate, I owe you a pint, because I think you're well off. I think you're well off. I do not see us winning by a 3-goal margin, but obviously, hope I'm wrong. It could be like a bit like that Newcastle game about, what was it, 2 years ago at Christmas, when we weren't really expected to win that, and we thumped them. I think it was 4-0 or 4-1. So maybe it'll be a bit like that one. But let's get into things, Frank. Let's get into things. And so, like I said, a bit about the press conference. Thomas Frank has confirmed that Randall Kolo Muani is available to face Aston Villa on Sunday. That is absolutely fantastic news as far as I'm concerned, Frank. You know, we've been really struggling up top, especially in the number 9. Obviously, Tell came in last game at number 9, got his goal, was a deflected goal, not taking anything away from him, but I don't think he was massively convincing. And obviously, Richarlison, you're not his biggest fan, but he hasn't been very good since that Burnley game, really. Just quickly, mate, Kolo Muani, you happy to see him available? Because I certainly am. I think this is actually very exciting that we're going to finally see him after, he's been at the club 2 months, nearly 2 months, and we haven't really seen him other than a brief cameo against Villarreal, right?
Yeah, I mean, sorry, just very quickly, just looking at that photo as you were talking, he looks about 12 years old. Just felt I had to say that. I'm excited.
His legs just like he's Benjamin Button. You know what I mean? Maybe.
But yeah, no, I'm excited. I think ultimately it depends how fit he is. If he's coming back and he's sort of just coming back off the injury, then that's a concern. I think Thomas Frank said he's had 2 weeks of solid training, so that's good. I mean, he also had 2 weeks of solid training before the Villarreal game, and he looked like he'd never played the sport before. So I'm hoping that he will come back fully fit. If not, then I'm hoping he can stay injury-free and be fully fit by the time we sort of really need him coming up to Christmas. So I think right now you can kind of survive without him. But I think when it sort of really gets tough, and a lot of games, when the going gets tough, you're going to really need him. So hopefully he will stay fit and have a good, decent run now, because, listen, they've got him in on a year-long loan with the intention to have an instant impact. And so far, that impact has been next to nothing. So it's important that he does make an impact for both him and Tottenham.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, mate. I completely agree. Guys in the chat, what are you thinking about the Kolo Muani train? The Kolo Muani, start of a new era, I guess, in terms of a new number 9 for Tottenham. Do you think he will be Tottenham's number 9 for the foreseeable, future of the season? Do you think he'll be easily above Tell and Richarlison? And I guess you could put into the fold there Solanke when he comes back. Let me know in the chat, guys, what you are thinking. I want to keep this as interactive as possible, as always. So please do make your comments come in, like Ghosted's done here. He said, we need Muani to get up to speed. The guy is the best striker at the club at the moment. I definitely agree. When he's fully fit, and what I've seen from him at Juventus and Frankfurt in particular, very, very good player. At Frankfurt, almost a goal contribution every game. So let's not mistake that. He is a decent goal scorer and can get the odd assist. So, very excited to see him play. Hopefully he starts. My thoughts are that he probably won't start. I think they'll start Tell up front, and then I think Muani will come off the bench maybe before Richarlison. That is my hunch, but I don't know what you guys are thinking in the chat. Logan saying we need him playing. I can't stand Richarlison. He's a good human being, but he's a terrible footballer. This could have been you typing here, Frank. That's exactly how you feel, right, mate?
Exactly. I mean, I have no disrespect against him as a person. I think he does a lot of good, actually. But no, as a footballer, I'm certainly his biggest fan.
Absolutely. Okay, guys. We'll move on from the Kolo Muani talk, but make sure you are. I can see the numbers are growing. It's an absolute pleasure to see. So about 40 something of you across Twitter and YouTube now. Please do, if you are coming into the stream, I like to plug it like 2 or 3 times a session because it really does help us out, guys. And I really do appreciate your support when we're trying to bring you the latest. Hopefully you can provide a little bit in return for free, which is to hit the like button, turn on the notification bell down below, and also down below, subscribe if you are new. And if you are in a position to do so, there is the super chat option and the membership option. The membership option is a join button or in the top of the description. And the super chat option is, of course, in the chat if you do want to skip the queue on basically create a talking point. Average Mirage fan is saying Solanke is better than Randall Colomwani, and he thinks Colomwani is better than Richarlison. I have to say, if you're getting the Bournemouth Solanke where he's firing on all cylinders every single week, I agree with that statement. If you've got the Solanke that I saw in the last season at Spurs, I'm saying Kolo Muani fully fit is a better number 9 personally. I think he's an all-round, more experienced player, played in all the leagues other than the Premier League, of course, so you could make the argument back that he's not Prem-proven yet. But I think Kolo Muani is a bit more classy than Solanke. Frank, do you agree with that comment there, mate?
No, I don't, to be brutally honest. I love Solanke. He's never fit, which is a problem, and it's the same issue that I had with Richarlison. So if that doesn't change, then I will be on the same. I'll have the same feelings about Solanke as I will Richarlison, because that has to change. But I think Solanke is a top player. I mean, you kind of see the difference in some of the goals and things we scored last year. I mean, there's one, the Bergvall goal against Liverpool in the Cup. I mean, the running into the channel to pick up the ball, the Porro goal against Frankfurt in the quarterfinal, the little back heel, that was all Solanke as well. And there's so many of those sort of moments that I pick up and think that Solanke would be just a machine at the moment in this team if he was fit. And so I love him. And I think we desperately need him back. And I think we will see a much improved Tottenham when he is back, to be brutally honest.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. I thought you weren't going to agree with me. That's absolutely fine. I don't think there's a correct answer. Well, there's a correct answer to some people, right? If you're going to say stubborn enough on your views. But guys, let us know what you think in the chat. Let's see if you agree more with Frank or with me. Do you think fully fit at full potential? Who's the better player, Kolo Muani or Solanke? Look at that. We've created a nice little debate to start this video off. Solanke is a one-season wonder, says Ghosted. Mirage is saying, I think Solanke under Frank will be better than Solanke under Ange. I do agree with that comment. And I swear, if it's Rodri and Palhinha up there, I will not be pleased. You don't want to see both of them together. I remember that from the last video. Logan saying, wouldn't even say Solanke is number 1 right now. He's just as injury prone as Richarlison. And Jack's in here. Big up, Jack. He's in the chat as well. I'm going to move on, like I said, about Kolo Muani, guys, but let me know what you're thinking. So the next piece is around Thomas Francon and Fabio Paratici returning to the club to work alongside Johan Langer. And he's saying, I'm looking forward to working together. I'm in no doubt we will all create a good team. I'm used to working with 2 sporting directors. He did so at Brentford. And he says, I think you need 2 sporting directors now. I think they will complement each other well. I was very positive about it. It will work very well. Their abilities will complement each other very well. It is the perfect match. This is almost like your script from your video yesterday you did on this, Frank. This is basically what you're saying. They're going to complement each other well. You know, one works more in the youth system in Langer, and one works better with more experienced players, especially in sort of the foreign leagues, like overseas from England, like Italian league, Serie A, for example. So essentially, he's echoing what you were saying in the video yesterday. You're still under that assumption, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that they're going to work well together. As I say, I think there's a lot of good that they both do. I think there's a lot of bad that they both do as well. I mean, as I say, and I kind of touched on it in the video, that Johan Lange, you can argue that some of the squad planning over the last year or 2 has been diabolical, like really bad. In the fact that this season they've gone into it with 3 fullbacks. Last season they went into it with 2 that Ange trusted. He didn't obviously trust Jed Spence. He was kind of forced into having to use him, and that's a problem. I mean, you can kind of keep going like through different issues. So that's a problem on his end. I think on Paratici's end, you've got the argument that he was the one that signed Emerson Royale. He was the one that hired Nuno. He signed Brian Gill and was arguably the worst transfer I've actually ever seen in the history of football. Conte came in, which in hindsight was the wrong decision. At the time, fine. I'm not blaming him for that. But I think what they both do well is they both do what the other can't do. And so I think that's quite exciting. The quality of young players we've brought in since Johan Langer's come in have gone up. The level of those young players has risen. As I say, Tell, Odebert, Gray, Bergvall, Vuskovic. There's an abundance of them. I think we need to mix that with players that are currently experienced and can do damage now, but also still have that future, like Javi Simmons, like Mohamed Kudus, like Dom Solanke. These sort of guys, Solanke a little bit older than the other two, but that sort of range. And I think Paratici does that well. Like when we got Romero and we got Kulusevski and we got Bentancur. Certainly the latter two, in Kulu and Bentancur, were players that were not on the come down. That's probably the wrong way of putting it, but players that were not where they should have been. And so they were playing at a big club, but they weren't playing as much as they should have been or playing as well as they should have been. I think I mentioned it in the video. There was a tweet and I couldn't find it. I'm sure people will know the one I'm talking about. It came up every time those two played well, and it was a Juve fan or Italian journalist, and he said something along the lines of, "Good luck trying to see Bentancur pass the ball forward, and Kulu can't beat his man," or whatever. And I think that's what he will find. He'll find players like that. I imagine we will be linked to Locatelli and players like that for the next 6 months now, until next summer, and those sort of guys, Weston McKennie and all these guys again, who are kind of in these big clubs, but on the fringes here and there and things. But I think they do complement each other well, and so that I think is quite an exciting dynamic.
Yeah, it's like the players that have sort of been sort of semi written off. That they're not going to sort of come as good as the fan base thought they were, and I think that's a good example there. Locatelli, he's an excellent player, but maybe doesn't get his flowers over there. I think you're spot on. It is going to be maybe a Vlahovic as well, mate. Someone just put that in the chat as well. It's Mirage again. He's saying Colin MUANI's never done it in the Premier League, and his PSG run was lackluster. His Juve run was mid. I think he did really well at Juve, especially to start with. But next summer, I'd bin them both and go for Vlahovic. Hope Paratici can do that one. And if you need anyone in the Serie A that knows Juventus, it's Fabio Paratici. So it's a good thing to have him back. Guys, what's your thoughts on Paratici in the comments below? Please let us know. If you're watching offline as well, please let us know in the comments. I reply to every single comment, and I love interacting with you guys on there. So please do keep smashing your comments in. I don't care if you do 10 a video. I absolutely love it. But guys, hit the like button. Noties on. Subscribe if you're new. We're going to move on. We're going to talk about our predicted lineups. Actually, first, we're going to look at the head-to-head again. We looked at this the other day, but we're going to bring it up again. This is Tottenham versus Aston Villa, the last 6 head-to-heads. And as you can see, it's not been too pretty for us, Frank. What's that there? 4 losses from 6. We had a stint against them in 2024 where we beat them 4-0 away and 4-1 at home. But other than that, mate, in the last sort of 2 or 3 years, it's not been too good, has it?
No, I mean, I probably should have cut the bottom one off, solely because I think that was under Ryan Mason, and that was when they just literally had given up. It was after they lost 6-1 at Newcastle and all these so that was like that dreadful spell. But since then, say Ange has taken over, I mean, it's a mixture. As I say, I said this the other day, you can kind of pick apart each one and go, well, this was the reason for this and this was the reason for that. The results suggest that we've probably been the worst of the two head-to-head over time. I think when you do pick them apart, like that 2-1, the one in November, the second bottom one, we absolutely battered them that day. I think we had about 3 goals disallowed, and we slaughtered them, and we just got picked apart by 2 silly goals because we had Emerson and Ben Davies at centre-half. I mean, it was just sloppy. The other 2, we absolutely picked them apart. As you know, 8 goals in 2 games against them. The FA Cup one last year came, I want to say it was 3 or 4 days after we played Liverpool in the Cup. It might have been 3 or 4 days before the second leg. And I think they were just kind of knackered by this point. It was when all those players had been getting injured and whatever. And then the one on the 16th of May was obviously 5 days before the Cup final. So they rested most of the team. So when you actually kind of pick up on, the strongest team that Tottenham have had in those games when there is meaning behind the game and when they've had a strong side, have been the 3 from the second bottom one to the 4-1. The 2-1 loss, the 4-0 win, and the 4-1 win. And so that is kind of what fills me with hope, is that in all three of those games, I think we've been the far better side. I think Emery's sort of system suits the way we play. As I say, that because they play this high line, I think with pace and purpose you can get at them. And I think playing Tel Alderbert and Kudus tomorrow with Xavi Simons as a 10 could end up, on Sunday, could end up being really, really good, I think.
Yeah, you think we're going to have a bit of luck in the forward departments then?
Yeah, I think so. As I say, that with pace and a directness about you, I think you can hurt them. And I think it might be worth. I think Sarr probably should be one that has to play as a runner. Maybe Bergvall, one or the other. I think probably should play. Because I think if you've got a runner, I mean, in that 4-0 game, when Sarr got the assist on Maddison's goal away at Villa Park, I mean, that's what I mean. That someone that just runs the channels and works hard and does that. And I think you can get at Villa that way. And so I think we have a squad and a team that is quite well suited to that.
Absolutely, mate. Good points. Stevie Fraser in the chat. Big up our number 10 on clubs. This is an Irish Hotspur club member, Frank. We should have to get you involved with it at some point. He's saying, don't mind if he brings a Svahovic, though. I still think MUANI could cook. That's what I mean, mate. Like, fully fit Kolo MUANI, I think he's actually an underrated player. I think he could be pretty decent. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it was signing of the summer, but I think it could be a smart signing if he can sort of get going now. He's back from his injury, but let's see how he looks. Let's see if he looks like he's running in jeans or not after the injury. But Mirage fan is saying, I say we do well against the Highline. That's kind of what you were getting at there, Frank. Bergvall or Sarr should be a must start. I think that's what also you were saying. Like, do you not think, we're getting to the lineup in just 1 second, but do you not think Bentancur and Palhinha should be starting together then?
I mean, you can kind of look at it both ways. If they do, I get it, because you've got Rodgers, you've got Marlon, you've got Gessan, you've got Watkins, which is quite a deadly front four. And so you want your back line protected. So I understand it from that point of view. But then in terms of an attacking point of view, I think it's the wrong game to start them both. I imagine whatever will happen, I will come back on here in a week's time and go, that was the wrong decision. Just because we like to complain. But yeah, I can see it's quite a difficult. I imagine it's quite a headache because I can see pros and cons of both, to be brutally honest.
Sure. Let's see what happens. By the way, I know you've had this set up for a little while, but I was looking around your background there. It's an unbelievable background you got going on there, Frank. Now I got about 5 or 6. Was it 4 Spurs shirts, massive Tottenham badge, and a bunch of Tottenham sort of colours as well. Absolutely love it. But guys, we're going to get into the predicted 11 now, and this is courtesy of SofaScore. And this isn't necessarily what we think will happen because, well, actually looking at it again, I think this is pretty spot on, Frank. Unless they take out one of Bentancur and Palhinha and start start Sarr or Bergvall, I actually think this will be the starting 11, mate. This is pretty much the Leeds 11, isn't it? Do you think this will be what we see?
Yeah, I think so. As I say, it wouldn't shock me if Bentancur didn't start and it was Bergvall instead or Sarr instead. I think other than that, that's probably spot on. I think that the rest of the team is spot on. But as I say, Bentancur for one of the others would be my only possible change. But I think the front four is spot on. I think the back four is spot on. Yeah, I think Palhinha will start. I think it ultimately just comes down to that one change.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of the point here from Mirage Fanny saying my case for them not to start together in Bentancur and Palhinha is because so far this season, our defensive makeup has been much more waterproof than our attack. And that kind of does make sense. But can you sacrifice a Palhinha or a Bentancur against, like you said, Watkins, Marlon, Rodgers, and who was the other one? Gessan. It's a tough decision for Thomas Frank, and I think personally he will start this exact 11 here, and then I think he will integrate Kolo MUANI off the bench for Tel if he's not having a good game or at about 60 minutes anyway, and I think he'll put on depending on how it's going at half time, probably won't put it at half time, but maybe like 60th minute again, he'll put on a Bergvall or a Sarr for say Bentancur. I think that's how it's going to go, and I think even Odobert, if he's not having a great game, could also come off for maybe a Richarlison on the left I could see that happening as well. So, guys, let us know what you're thinking. Do you think this will be the 11? Jonathan Boyd, he's saying, so, MUANI is not going to start. I personally don't think he'll start, just because if you think about it, he's only just come back in the fold. He played a match behind closed doors the other day. I think it was against Watford, or Watford under 21s or something. Like, I can't see him going straight into the 11, to be honest with you, mate. And for the current form of Villa in their disjointed chemistry, I could take that risk. Says Mirage fan. Exactly. Villa haven't started well, but then again, I think that almost is more of a danger. I think Villa are desperate for the 3 points to get back up that table. At the moment, they're only kind of sitting just below mid-table, aren't they? Well, might even be lower than that, 13th. So, I mean, with a win for Villa, they go up to like potentially as high as 7th. So it's a really big game for Aston Villa as well, especially with such a poor start for their sort of standards. Would you agree, Frank? That almost makes us more vulnerable against Villa.
Yeah, agreed. And I also think as well, I mean, the one thing I was kind of thinking about looking at this team as well, talking about sort of MUANI and where he fits in, is Odobert and Tell both come off the back of a really positive international break. That I want to say that Odobert scored 4 and Tell scored 2, and they both got a couple of assists between them, I think. Those numbers could be slightly off, but I think give or take that's right. So they both come off the back of 2 really positive performances, so the pair of them, and that will be massive for their confidence, I imagine. I know it's only under 21s, but seriously boosting in terms of their confidence and how they're feeling about their own game. Given that Tell obviously also scored in the Leeds game beforehand, they both obviously started that game. They both played quite well. I was a little bit harsh, I think, on Odobert at the time, and looking back, sort of watching the highlights back and a bit match of the day and sort of focusing on him, I was quite harsh on him at the time, Odobert. I thought they were both pretty good looking back. And so I think, 1, they both deserve to start. 2, I think they're both probably playing on a good level of confidence at the moment, which is important. And that in itself is exciting, because you want to see these young guys play well, right? That's all we want. Like, I get we, as a fan base, probably criticize some of these guys and go, well, Tell isn't good enough, or Odobert isn't good enough, or I think at times the pair of them, more so Odobert, maybe lacks a bit of conviction and a bit of belief in what he's doing. But that's the result of him being young. Like, Matisse Tell is the same age as me, and I'm sat here criticizing him. Like, I shouldn't have a right to do that. And that's these guys will develop, and these guys, I was reading about Mateta the other day, and it was like at the age of 23, he was still playing in the French second division. Like, and Buemo was exactly the same.
Mahrez, Kante and Mahrez, I think, had a similar route as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and Buemo was still playing in the second division in France at Odobert's age. And if anyone told you, everyone this summer wanted Mbeumo. The Spurs we have to sign Mbeumo. We have to sign Mbeumo. We've got this.
Oh, have I frozen, or is that Frank? Gonna have to check the stream, guys. I think it's Frank. I think Frank's frozen. Yeah, it's Frank. He was having PC issues, so he's just. I didn't know if it was me or not, guys. I was thinking, what's happened there? We'll hopefully get back to Frank in a minute. But guys, talk me through this 11. Like, what is it you don't agree with? Jonathan Boyd saying, why not Bergvall instead of Bentancur? I think Thomas Frank personally will go for that. That's my hunch. I think Thomas Frank will go for Bentancur and Paulinho because we have had good results with them. Obviously, the Bournemouth game was kind of the exception to that. Oh, and now I've lost the slides. Because Frank's gone. What a disaster. What an absolute disaster. But I'm sure Frank will be back in a minute, guys. I'll do a little interaction section. Oh, he's back. I think he's back.
I'm back. About to move.
You just froze. I had to check the stream who had gone, and the chat had very kindly let me know it was you.
No, the Wi-Fi is playing up, but I'm back. I'm here.
Got it.
Oh, gosh.
So sorry, just to come back. Mirage fans saying if Archie matures into the player he can be, then he would be perfect to slot in there. Great offensively and is solid defensively. I hope he can go on loan and get more game time. He had a good cameo against Bodo Glimt, didn't he? And Stevie Fraser's asked me to sing a song because I was kind of twiddling my thumbs when he went, Frank. I was like, oh, what do I do now? Because the slides went. The slides went as well. Yeah. So we'd have to put them back on screen if you can, mate. Maybe Sarr for Bentancur, but other than that, I wouldn't change a thing. Okay, let's just quickly go. 1, if you would start Bentancur on Sunday, or 2, if you would start Sarr, or 3, if you would start Bergvall. 1 for Bentancur, 2 for Sarr, 3 for Bergvall. Whack it in the comments, whack it in the live chat. Mirage fans gone for Sarr. You're going for who, Frank? I think Thomas Frank will do Palhinha and Bentancur because it worked against Leeds. But what do you think should happen?
I agree with you that I think he'll pick Bentancur, but I think he should go for Bergvall. I think.
Yeah, agreed.
It's between Bergvall and Sarr, but I think given that Sarr had to travel to Senegal, whereas Bergvall's only sort of been in Europe, I think that probably will come into his thinking. A bit like when the others go to South America and places, that probably comes into the thinking. So I think Bergvall would be, if either of those two will start, it'd be Bergvall, I think.
I mean, Bergvall didn't have a great trip, did he? I think pretty much Sweden are not going to qualify for the World Cup. And part of that was the fact that he had an... Huh?
I was going to say, did you see the chance he missed?
Yeah, I was about to say, and part of the reason why they didn't get any points in one of the games is because he tripped over the ball for an open goal. I mean, he had an absolute stinker. Brian Hill, I don't think I've seen your name before, mate. Apologies if I have forgotten. But big yourself up, mate, if you are new. Let me know if you're new. But you've gone for Bergvall. Appreciate your interactions, guys. Keep getting your comments in as well on this point. But this is how Flash Scores predicts that...
Sorry.
Go on.
Can I just ask something? Is that your real name? Because if your name is Brian Hill, that is incredible. If that is your real name, that is incredible.
Brian Hill.
That is your real name. That's brilliant.
Pronunciation of it in words. Oh, brilliant. Brian Hill. That's like when you get in Duolingo and you got to pronounce it like Hill.
Oh, that is good. If that is your real name, that's fantastic.
I mean, mate, it doesn't get better than your name, fucking Frank Thomas. It's got to be made up. It's still, everyone that comes in here that doesn't know you still says it's made up.
Good at.
I don't think Frank will play Xavi in the 10 with Bergvall behind him, says Ghosted. Do you think that's a good point?
Yeah, I think that's probably. Yeah, I think that's why I'd say I think Bentancur will start. If he's feeling, if he's feeling risky, then he might. But I think he'll probably be safe and go with the 3 that he knows in Xavi, and then the usual double pivot.
Absolutely. Let's go back to that. Sorry, Brian Hill, you've caused quite the stir. We were going to talk about Aston Villa's predicted lineup. Emi Martinez in goal, Digne left back, Cash, boo, right back, Torres and Konsa at centre back, decent pairing. Konsa's really impressed me for England when I've watched him. I think he's actually a really, really good centre back. Kamara and McGinn in the middle with Marlon, Rogers, Gesand in behind, Watkins. Do you think that this is how it will line up, mate? I know you pulled it from, I think, is it Flash Scores you pulled it for, or so Flash Scores?
I think it's just Flash Score, yeah.
Yeah, so is this what you think will be the case, or do you think there'll be sort of anyone else we may have missed? I'm just trying to look at their last lineup when they played in the Premier League last against Burnley, and the lineup was exactly the same, other than instead of they had someone called Bogarde in there, and that's it. So instead of, let me just work that out. Instead of Rogers played, who is it? Gesand. Instead of Gesand, they had Bogard at centre defensive mid.
Yeah. I mean, I know I said the other day on the video, and we had a Villa fan pick it up in the comments, that I said about Yuri Tielemans. Kind of naive of me to forget that he was injured.
Yeah, he's got an ACL.
Yeah, it's just whoops. But
nice one.
But yeah, I think this will be the team. I mean, there's whether or not. I mean, obviously, Donio Marlon. I think we'll come on to him in a minute. He obviously bagged twice in their last game, which is a threat. But I think, I don't think there'll be too much change. I mean, they're on a sort of a decent trot of form, actually. That they've not actually lost a game since the same day we lost to Bournemouth. Yeah. So apart from the fact they lost on penalties in the cup, which doesn't really count as a 90-minute loss, they've won 4 on the spin, including Europe. So they're on a decent little trot now. So it's not going to be easy. I mean, I imagine that the majority of the team will stay the same, i.e. that back line probably won't change. Kamara will start because Kamara is very good. Rogers, Watkins are kind of the same, that they are kind of nailed on. I guess you could argue Marlon is too. So then it becomes down to sort of Gessans and McGinn. McGinn, again, probably nailed on. So that, as you say, that Gessans spot is probably the one. Buendia has obviously been doing all right, but then he came off injured. I don't know if he's fit enough or not to start on Sunday. He came off with quite a nasty injury at the back end of the Burnley game. So whether or not he will. Ross Barkley, who I did not know was at Villa until about 30 seconds ago. Just looking at their team, that's one that somehow passed by me. But yeah, I think this will probably be the side. I think that's probably their strongest side they've got in terms of players being fit now. But Bogart's good. I quite like him. So if it wouldn't shock me if he did play and they played almost a 4-3-3 and had McGinn, Kamara, and Bogard with those three up top.
Sure. Okay. Guys, let us know in the comments if you agree with this. It really is Brian Hill and been watching for a few months. Excellent content. Keep it up. Appreciate it, Brian. Make sure your apologies. Someone's revving a motorbike outside. Hopefully you can't hear that. Apologies. Brian, please do comment more, especially with a name like that. But appreciate the support, mate. Mirage fan is saying Romero should listen to his intrusive thoughts and do in cash. Yeah, or hopefully not. Well, unless he can get away with a, not getting a red card. Start Nicholas Jackson, says Nicholas Christou. Unless I'm going nuts, I think you're on the wrong channel. Because Nicholas Jackson plays for Bayern Munich. Unless I'm also being a bit of a mug here, Frank. Save my bacon if I am.
No, you're being fine. I think he's being a fool.
I don't know what he's on about. Ghosted saying, can we see Porro dropped for more strength at right back? Do you reckon?
Possibly, but I think that Porro will start in the week against Monaco. So we've got quite a lot of tough sort of away games coming up, and I think Spence will be used for those more often than not. So I think Porro will probably start on Sunday. Okay,
and what about Sancho? Of course, Jadon Sancho is a good question. Has he even? How much has he played for Villa since he's joined? He's only played one match. I don't know if he's been in the fold or not, or maybe he had an injury, but he has only played one match according to Google. He missed 2 games from illness, which was the Burnley game and the Feyenoord game. He was on the bench against Fulham. He played 74 minutes against Brentford and 33 minutes against Bologna, 9 minutes against Sunderland. But before that, he wasn't even in the squad. So I think he joined deadline day anyway, didn't he, Frank, from Manchester United, or technically from Manchester United, but he was at Chelsea, wasn't he, last season? Ronnie thinks, big up Ronnie, always good to see you in the chat, my friend. He said Vicario, so we'll go back to ours quickly. He thinks Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van de Ven, Udogie, Palhinha, Bentancur. Then he's gone Bergval, Xavi, MUANI, Kudus. Bergval, Xavi. So Xavi on the left, Bergval at the 10, MUANI up front, Kudus on the right. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I don't think MUANI will start. I think it's too early for MUANI.
Yeah.
I think the rest of it's probably pretty spot on, but yeah, I think it's a little bit too early for MUANI at the moment.
Completely agree, mate. Completely agree. So these are 3 players that Frank has picked out as the ones to watch, or 3 or 2? 2 players to watch. One of which is Morgan Rogers. Of course, in the summer, we thought we might have been signing him, and I got that. You remember that in the know sort of information, and then got absolutely rinsed. To be honest, I thought I was going to get more heat for that because someone told me it was nailed on, but that was absolute in the mud situation. But you've picked out Rogers as one. I also agree with this. I'll get your thoughts in a minute, Frank. But I just laughing because I can see Frank in the background sorting out his cat. But in terms of Morgan Rogers, obviously an absolutely excellent player, one that we were linked with in the summer. Hasn't started incredibly this season. He got a goal for England in the international break against Wales in the friendly. But having said that, he hasn't started great. he did get an assist against Fulham. He got an assist against Burnley, and he got an assist in the last international break in September. So all in all this season, Morgan Rogers is currently sitting at a record of 7 matches played for Villa, 0 goals, 2 assists, which by his form isn't actually great because last season he got 8 goals, 10 assists in 37 matches. Obviously, like I said, for the national team, he has got a couple of assists. But Frank, what do you make of Morgan Rogers, and why have you picked him out as sort of the number one key threat, mate? And do you think Palinha will manage Rogers as Ghosted saying? And Ronnie also agrees, Rogers and Marlon. Well, I'm not going to give away the second player, but you may have already called it. What do you think, mate?
I think Palinha can manage him. I think he'll be able to, certainly. But I think Rogers is a force. He's a physical force. He's powerful. He's strong. He's sort of direct. He's quite dynamic. He's quick. And that in itself is difficult. So I think that's why they might have to play some sort of younger legs next to him in the Bergvall or Sarr to sort of help deal with that. But I read a stat the other day that he's got more open play assists than any other player in the Premier League since the start of 2025, which is mad. And so he's a threat. He's a top player. He's one I really wanted at Spurs in the summer. He's gonna be a problem. I think if they deal with him, you probably deal with Villa though. So on the whole, I think it's about keeping him in check, and you probably win the game.
Hopefully, as simple as that, mate. Hopefully, as simple as that. I agree. I think he's an exceptionally good player. I think you probably rate him more than me. I think he's really good, but I don't think he's the best number 10 or sort of attacking, one of the best attacking players in the league. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm going to be eating my words come Sunday evening. But the other player you picked out is, and I know, don't get me wrong, mate, I agree. I think he's probably Aston Villa's best or second best player, for sure. Donnell Marlon, obviously formerly of Borussia Dortmund, joined Aston Villa last season. Did he join them last season or the season before?
I'll check that for you. 1 second.
Say again.
Start of last season.
Start of last season.
I also learned about him. Yeah, there's a comment there. I was literally just about to say that. I also learned about him that he played for Arsenal for a long time, which I didn't know until about the other day.
Did he?
Yeah, he was in the Arsenal academy from 2016 to 2018, which I didn't know.
Oh wow. So Milton's on repeat. Big up. Like him. Say again.
Even more reason to dislike him.
Big up Milton. He's saying 3, which was, I think, if I'm right, Bergvall. Mirage is saying McGinn is vital for Villa. If we get him under a lock, then the bridge between their defence and attack is gone because Tielemans isn't there. He joined Villa last season. It was January 2025, so he's played half a season last season and he started the season. So 2024-2025 statistics for Villa, aka just 2025 in the Premier League. He got 14 matches, 3 goals, 0 assists. So far this season, he's played 7 matches, got 2 goals and no assists. But both of those goals, I believe, were in the same game, which was last game against Burnley at home. He scored both of the goals. Rogers and Kamara with the assists. Why have you picked out Marlon, mate?
Just because I think he's on a decent trot. He had quite a nice pre-season and was sort of hyped up to be quite a good player this year. And then he didn't start that well, obviously because Villa didn't score any goals. But it looks like now he's kind of in that team, and it's going to be quite tough to take his place. He obviously scored 2 goals against Burnley before the break, one of which was, and they're both good goals, but one of which was really well taken and a really lovely goal. And so he's quick, he's strong, he's a good finisher. He's going to be difficult. And as I say, a bit like sort of how, and this is straight back at the likes of like Matty Cash having to deal with Odobert and the centre-halves having to deal with Tell. Marlon is off the back of a bit of a confidence boost, maybe not nationally, but for Villa. So he will be ready. He'll be excited, I imagine. As I say, an old Arsenal player as well, so maybe there's a little bit mentally that boosts him just that little bit more. But yeah, I think he's a threat. I think those two especially were the ones that will try and feed that ball to Watkins, and so it's not about keeping Watkins quiet. It's about keeping the links quiet, and I think those two are.
Can I be honest on Marlon? I really need to touch wood because I got to be honest. I think he's bang average. I every time I've seen him, I know he scored 2 in the last game, but I don't think he's actually a very good player. I think he played for and he knocked my mic off. I think for Dortmund, he had a couple of pretty good seasons, but I'm looking at his numbers now. 2023, 2024 for Dortmund, he got 13 goals and 1 assist in 27 matches. But other than that, he didn't reach double figures at all. And in the Bundesliga, so many average or above players reach double figures consistently. I'm thinking of Jadon Sancho, for example. Everyone was saying about how good he was. Well, he went to Man United, he didn't do anything. He's gone to Chelsea, didn't really do much. And now he finds himself at Aston Villa. I'd say he's on a similar level, maybe even slightly lower than a Jadon Sancho. I don't think he's actually that good. I think Morgan Rogers and Ollie Watkins are the main threats for Aston Villa personally. And I think if we can keep both of them quiet, I think we'll be fine. I'm not writing off Marlon. I really do hope I haven't cursed it. But I just don't think he's that good, Frank. I think, I know you haven't really said he's amazing. I get that. I'm not trying to argue a point you haven't made, but I wouldn't have picked him in my top 2. I'd have said Watkins and Rogers personally.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, and this is, I can sort of out curse you here. I think that Aston Villa are pretty bang average, full stop. I think they have in Watkins and Rogers, who are probably the 2 best players, and Kamara as well. I just think at the moment, in terms of the sort of form that he's hitting, I think he's probably a threat at the moment, Marlon. I think on the whole, I don't think you're wrong. I think he's a decent player. I think he's all right. But I look through that whole Villa team, and I think they are just decent. Matty Cash, I think, is decent, and Ezri Konsa's pretty decent. And yeah, you can list them all off. The Bar Kamara, Rogers, I think they're all pretty decent. I think Watkins is good. I don't think he's elite. I don't think he's. If they're both fully fit, I would have Dominic Solanke over him all day long, to be brutally honest.
Yeah.
I think Rogers is a top player and will move on to a bigger club. And I think Kamara signed a new contract quite recently, which surprised me. I imagine they're paying him a boatload of money, but I'm surprised that he's not at someone of bigger level, to be honest.
No, I agree, mate. I agree. Yeah, Kamara is a decent player as well. Obviously, more defensively minded than the other 2 3 we were just speaking about. But I think it'll be interesting. I think it'll be an interesting game. I don't think it's sort of cut and dry that we're going to win the game 3-0. I don't agree with that. I really want to be wrong, but I can't see us just absolutely turning them over 3-0. But let's see. Guys, that is about all we have time for. Before you all click off the video and exit the video, please do me 4 massive favors, and they're very quick to do so. Please, if you watch the video from start to finish, you're obviously an absolute legend. Please do like the video. It is free to do so. Turn on the notification bell down below for Spurs Related. It's also free to do so. And subscribe to Spurs Related down below as well if you are new to the stream. Really do appreciate it. Guys, before you all go, get your score predictions in the chat like Rodney has. Let us know your score predictions in the chat. So those 3 favors while you're doing that as well, please do. See you at the game Sunday. Yes, Ad. If you see us, let us know. Tight one in my opinion. I completely agree. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Spurs win. Rodney's gone for 1-0. Guys, let us know what you think. Frank, you think 3-0. Is that still your prediction?
Yeah, I think so. I'm almost half tempted to just really, if I'm gonna go for it and bump up that score a little bit more. But I'll stick at 3-0 and hope that comes in.
What, you want to bump it up more?
I'm almost half tempted. I'm in quite good spirits about Sunday. Maybe it's just because I haven't watched Spurs for 2 weeks, and I imagine that's probably the reason. But I'll stick with 3-0.
Okay, guys, let us know what you're thinking in the chat. And if you're watching on repeat, I also really do appreciate that as well. Please also go and subscribe to Frank's channel. He's not uploading as much as he was, but he will be getting back onto it. Please do click on that link and subscribe to his channel. He always puts in hour after hour on Spurs Related. He is my permanent co-host, of course, but please do show him some love on his channel. Stephen Everington's gone for 3-1 Spurs. There's the link. I put it 3 times in the YouTube comments. 1-0 for Spurs for Average Mirage fan. Ronnie's gone for 3-1 Spurs, like that. And Rodney's gone for 1-0. I've gone for 2-1. You'll remember it's 2-1. And you'll come back to me on Sunday and go, James, you were right. But, guys, that is all we have time for. I really appreciate all the support. Like the video, turn on notification bells, and subscribe if you're new. And as always, remember, guys, come on, you Spurs! Come on.